महाराष्ट्र में होने वाले विधानसभा चुनावों में अब की बार क्या होगा, इसका जवाब जानने के लिए हर कोई उत्सुक है। अलग अलग सर्वे और एक्सपर्ट्स की राय सामने आ रही है। इस बीच मशहूर निवेशक और लेखक रुचिर शर्मा ने महाराष्ट्र चुनाव को लेकर चौंकाने वाला अनुमान पेश किया है। इंडिया टुडे के न्यूज डायरेक्टर राहुल कंवल को दिए इंटरव्यू में उन्होंने जो बताया, उसे सुनकर कांग्रेस और इंडिया गठबंधन के खेमे में खुशी की लहर दौड़ सकती है। रुचिर शर्मा ने कहा, लोकसभा चुनाव के बाद 6 महीने के अंदर राज्यों के चुनाव हो रहे हैं। अलायंस और दूसरी चीजों में भी ज्यादा कोई बदलाव नहीं हुआ है, इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि लोकसभा चुनाव जैसा पैटर्न रिपीट होगा।
In India, for the national elections in May, and we had traveled in Maharashtra also back then. In terms of the fact that if I look at, I haven't traveled this time on any election trip, so I have no real independent ground feel. But just a couple of observations if I can make here, which is generally if you look at the pattern of Indian elections, what happens in like a Lok Sabha election, if there's a state election being held, within 6 to 12 months of that, the pattern tends to repeat itself. So that's the only pattern we can do, and nothing has changed in terms of alliances and stuff significantly since then. So you would expect the pattern to.
रुचिर शर्मा की माने तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जिस तरह लोकसभा चुनाव के नतीजे सबके लिए हैरान कर देने वाले थे, वैसा ही महाराष्ट्र में भी हो सकता है। 2024 के लोकसभा चुनाव में कांग्रेस ने जबरदस्त वापसी की थी। 2019 में 52 सीटें जीतने वाली कांग्रेस ने 2024 के लोकसभा चुनाव में 99 सीटें जीतकर सबको चौंका दिया था। वहीं दूसरी तरफ अब की बार 400 पार का नारा देने वाली बीजेपी 440 सीटों पर आकर सिमट गई और किसी तरह सहयोगियों के साथ मिलकर केंद्र में गठबंधन सरकार बनाई। हरियाणा विधानसभा चुनाव के चौंकाने वाले नतीजों को लेकर रुचिर शर्मा से जब सवाल किया गया तो उन्होंने कहा, मैं मोमेंटम वाली थ्योरी पर भरोसा नहीं करता। ऐसा होता तो बीजेपी हरियाणा का चुनाव नहीं जीतती। भारत में हर राज्य का चुनाव अलग तरह का होता है।
Repeat itself. Has post Haryana.
Yeah.
Earlier there was a sense that the BJP is going down, Modi's graph is sinking.
I don't believe in this momentum theory.
Why not?
Because I believe in India, each state election is very distinct. If momentum was the issue, then BJP would have never won Haryana because the momentum was so against it in terms of that, right? So I'd say that each state election tends to be distinct in India. We are truly a federal country now, and every state election,
So your sense is that the 31-17 trend which we saw during the Lok Sabha elections of 48 seats in Maharashtra is likely to continue?
No, I'm just trying to say based on historical pattern. I haven't traveled this time. Last time we traveled, we came back with an assessment. I was very vocal about it, that we did not see a Modi wave after the election in May when we traveled. I haven't traveled. Now you're asking me to make an assessment based on not having traveled, based on data I can do it. Even in Haryana, it's interesting to note.
रुचिर शर्मा ने आगे हरियाणा के चौंकाने वाले नतीजों के बारे में भी विस्तार से अपनी राय रखी।
Two things about Haryana, just watching it from a distance. One, that it was possibly the freakiest election result I've ever seen in India. Freakiest because not only were the exit polls wrong, there was not one journalist who came back from Haryana and said, hey, something different may happen. I don't think there was one BJP person who came back and said something different may happen privately.
Why do you think that's the case? What's your sense?
I just don't know what happened. Sometimes these freaks happen, but not one person came back, and you'll agree with that. That not one person came back and said, or even a BJP insider said, just wait and watch, something different may happen. Usually, you know how it is, that even when people are losing elections, they come and tell you, hey, just wait and watch for election day. It's seemed like there was complete capitulation, and then all of a sudden, something happened, which we don't, and there's a lot of post-facto analysis about that, but I don't think anyone really knows what happened in that election, and not enough has been done. Even I wish all the exit pollsters would sit down and say what happened. I don't think there's been enough of serious introspection about that. But even having said all that, despite that being the freakiest election where not one person told you something different may happen, in fact, they told you that a landslide was a given. It was, what's the margin was the only sort of thing that landslide for the Congress is given. I think that the only thing which I will say is that even in Haryana, roughly what happened in the Lok Sabha election roughly did repeat itself in the assembly election also. It's not as if the results of the Lok Sabha and the assembly were very different. Just that people were expecting that it's going to be a much bigger landslide. You know, Modi is not on the ticket, and it's going to be, you know, like, and the Congress is like sort of tapping into the resentment a lot more. So I think that's way. So I'm saying that I'm just talking about general election theories, which is that in India's case, like every election is independent. Generally, when an election is held between 6 to 12 months, this is what I've learned from the pollsters I travel with, that you have like a similar pattern. But as I said, I've not traveled this time. I don't have an independent feel for it.
आने वाले दिनों में महाराष्ट्र और झारखंड में विधानसभा चुनाव होने हैं। देखना होगा अब की बार जनता किसका साथ देती है और नतीजे कैसे होंगे। न्यूज़ तक ब्यूरो।